We've got y'all muted.
Okay.
You want them all up here first, and then you get up, come up? Okay. 1, 2, 3,
There are just three of us.
and then
There are
principals.
three of us there.
And we're going to. And Stephanie and Scott.
What's going on in the valley? It is 6:57 p.m. We have a quorum, and this meeting has been duly posted. Good evening, and welcome to the monthly board meeting of the Dallas Independent School District Board of Trustees. If you will you please stand and join us for a moment of silence and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance and a salute to the flag, Texas flag. Trustees present, starting on your left and on my right, are Trustee Mackey, Trustee Flores, Trustee Mitchke, Trustee Garcia, Trustee Marshall. Our Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Michael Hinojosa, joins us, and I'm Justin Henry, Board President. Trustee Flores, could you please do the honors?
Si hay alguien que necesita los servicios de un intérprete, aquí la señorita les puede ayudar con el equipo. Gracias.
At this time, I would like to recognize any elected or public officials in the audience. I did see Ms. Earhart earlier, the Honorable. She's
In front.
Oh, I'm sorry. I can't see the chair. She's here. Are there any other elected or public officials in the room? All right. Trustees, there are no recognitions tonight. Our agenda now calls for the public forum segment of our meeting. We will begin with speakers to agenda items, followed by speakers to non-agenda items. To ensure this meeting is held in an orderly manner, I'm asking speakers to please refrain from using individual names and to address the board and not individual trustees. Ms. Scully, before we get started, we're going to move up Ms. Earhart and a group to recognize some of our excellent educators and principals through some troublesome time we've had in the last few months. If y'all, unless someone has an objection. I'd also like to recognize Trustee Johnson, who's in attendance tonight as well.
There we go.
Now are we on? Good. My name is Harriet Earhart. I live at 5731 Swiss Avenue. And I'm here representing our community, our schools, an organization with 150,000 citizens involved. I'd like first to recognize my colleague, Hector Flores and Rena Hona, and ask that all other OCOS members stand. Usually we are here to ask you to do something or not do something. That's not what we're here for tonight. Tonight we're here to thank you. We did not want the amazing work of our educators to go unrecognized for the things they did in light of the storms in October. Our hope is that the plaque will be hung in the administration building for all to see. Before I make the presentation, I would like for the special staff that was involved in this to stand. We ask that the following administrators who represent their staff and teachers stand as we thank them. Okay, and they're going to come up here with us? Oh, that's good. We'll begin with Dr. Stephanie Elizalde, the Chief of School Leadership Department, and Scott Lane, the Chief of Operations Department, and the Principal of Walnut Hill, Philip Potter, and the Principal of Cary, Naomi Salas. How'd I do? Close? and the Principal of TJ, Sandy Massey, and their Executive Director, Dr. Melanie Pascal. And I'd like to read to you the plaque that OCS is presenting. Presented to the entire staff at Walnut Hill Elementary School, Cary Middle School, and Thomas Jefferson High School, along with the teams of the School Leadership Department and the Operations Department of Dallas ISD, in recognition for those who have reached the heights of excellence and have maintained that level of performance and attitude during and in the aftermath of the storms and tornadoes that struck Dallas on October 20th, 2019. Your unwavering dedication to the students and the families of the Dallas Independent School District are appreciated and valued more than you will ever know. Thank you. Given by our Communities, Our Schools Coalition, December 19th, 2019. Thanks for letting us do this. Excuse me.
Okay, so now we're going to continue the sequence. Do you mind calling out the names, starting with the agenda items?
Okay. I would like to remind speakers that you will have 3 minutes to speak. When you arrive at the microphone, please state your name and address. Our first speaker is Bill Betson, followed by Nancy Rodriguez.
Howdy, my name is Bill Betson, 6717 Cliffwood, Dallas, Texas, 75237. I'm here to speak about something that you're going to have to look at your smartphones or at the computer in front of you to look at, if you would please. It involves 3 charts that are on my blog for today. All you have to do is Google Bill Betson blog and look at today's post, and you can see these 4 charts I'm going to refer to. Unfortunately, I've often gotten up here and spoken about STAR test scores and how well DISD looks with them. This is regarding the editorial that was in the Dallas Morning News November 7th of last month. And it's a rather tragic story. The first chart is the African American 8th grade NAEP National Assessment of Educational Progress, the nation's report card, reading scores. And the headline for that editorial was, "So we are better than Mississippi, not anymore." And that was talking about Texas, okay? So we're talking about the whole state of Texas, and our reading scores took one big dive and were much worse than Mississippi. That means we're at the bottom nationwide. The next chart is the next 3 charts are all about all of our Dallas 4th graders who were tested, all these over this 10-year period, and all of our 8th graders who were tested over this 10-year period. And those charts are the entire 10-year period. The testing is only every other year. If you look, there is only 1 out of 20 scores over these 10-year period in these 2 class groups. There is only 1 statistically significant positive score in 2015 in math for fourth graders. All of the other scores are either insignificant or decreasing. All of the reading scores in both 8th grade and 4th grade are negative, going down significantly. And the worst scores are for the last 2 testing periods covering 4 years when TEI was in effect. We've got to be paying attention to TEI and how it is correlated with dropping scores, especially on the national level. And that is a major problem. We need to be talking about this information. It can't get into the newspaper and everybody is quiet. We need to be talking. And I hope that DISD will step forward and allow a public dialogue to happen regarding the sinking scores. Thank you.
Nancy Rodriguez, followed by Jasmine Darwish.
Good evening, trustees. My name is Nancy Rodriguez. I am a parent of a DISD student and a former employee of the district. I am here to speak to you about item 6.02 on the agenda, which revises and streamlines the district's ethics policies. In general, I think these are good revisions. But trustees, the best policy in the world does no one any good unless it is enforced. And I can tell you from firsthand experience that the district does a shoddy job of enforcing this policy. Let me recount my experience, documentation of which I've emailed to all of you. In the spring of 2016, while working in the special education department as a social worker, I came to suspect that a colleague had been failing to come to work despite being paid a salary by the district, but had instead been running a private real estate and construction business on district time over a period of months or years. What's more, I believe that he had been illegally employing at least one underage DISD student on his construction sites. I reported my suspicions to my supervisor, and then to her supervisor, and then to her supervisor, none of whom took any action so far as I could tell. Finally, I filed a report with the Office of Professional Standards, whose investigation mostly confirmed my suspicions. The employee received a reprimand, and I hear that a year later he voluntarily resigned with no further consequences. Good riddance. But what about my supervisor, and her supervisor, and her supervisor? Not only had they failed to do their jobs as supervisors by allowing this person to draw a paycheck for a job he didn't even bother to show up to for months or even years, but they had brazenly violated this policy, which requires that district employees report things like professional dishonesty and theft of services. What did the district do to enforce its policy? Well, trustees, I can tell you. My reports regarding their malfeasance were ignored. All 3 remained in positions of responsibility within the special education department. 1 has since left the district, but 2 remain to this day, supposedly overseeing the district's provision of services to its most vulnerable children. And we wonder what is wrong in special ed. Today's not the first time I've discussed this matter with a board trustee. When my trustee first came into office, I had multiple correspondences with him about this and many other instances of blatant malfeasance by the district. So far as I can tell, neither he nor anyone else has done anything about them. Nor do I think mine is an isolated story. As I've spoken to parents and educators and community members, many have recounted examples of bad behavior that are overlooked, ignored, or even actively covered up by the district. Trustees, DISD has much to be proud of. It should be lauded for having improved both its bond rating and its STAR test scores. But it will never be the institution we all want it to be until it demands and enforces the highest standards of professional conduct and integrity from its employees. So I'm begging you, pass this item. It's a good policy. But don't just pass it and forget it. Insist that Mr. Hinojosa enforce it, or if he won't, send him packing and find someone who will. Our kids can't wait.
Jasmine Darwish, followed by Landon Finley.
Jasmine is not present tonight.
Landon Finley, followed by Tia Mitchell. Tia Mitchell, followed by Rosemary Kurtz.
Is that Rosemary?
I'm not Tia Mitchell. I'm
Oh,
Rosemary
sure.
Kurtz.
Are you Rosemary?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. I'm Rosie. I teach at a high school in Dallas ISD. At the beginning of this year, while admin were still getting organized, I managed to sneak a free response test in as my 3-week assessment in my math class because our data analysis routines were not yet so rigid. Grading those tests was incredibly informative. Not only could I see exactly which topics my kids had mastered and which needed to be retaught, but I could even see exactly where students got lost, which step caused them to halt, which little algebraic trick confused them. I could see it all in their work. It was not difficult to grade with the rubric I'd created, and I finished grading the tests feeling something I hadn't felt in a very long time, like I'd actually gained information from looking at test results. Unfortunately, then we were driven back into the regimen of data, data, data. The most efficient way for administration to collect data is to relegate us all to common multiple choice assessments for every test every 3 weeks. This means all we ever do is create useless bad data for the sake of data. This is all driven by the Teacher Excellence Initiative, TEI, which epitomizes data for the sake of data. There are all kinds of creative, unique, and useful methods that teachers could use to assess students' mastery on topics. But no, we all have to use the same multiple choice tests every time so as to create data that is more easily analyzed. It doesn't matter that the data doesn't give us any guidance for our teaching, at least we generated some data. Multiple choice data tells us very little. It doesn't tell us why students got questions wrong. It doesn't show us any kind of thought process. It doesn't show us whether they guessed and happened to get it right or wrong, whether they eliminated some answer choices first, whether maybe we should give them partial credit for getting 90% of the process right. Under PEI and APEI, our administrators are judged in large part by how accurately their ratings of us correspond with our test scores. So why wouldn't administrators worry most about making sure they have a good idea of what our multiple choice test scores will look like? That's why they limit us to multiple choice tests, because they have their own livelihoods in mind. Everyone in the school is impacted by these damaging systems, TEI, APEI, and PEI, and it gives all of us an incentive to either teach to the test or to push teachers to teach to the test. In August, the Dallas Morning News published an op-ed from a science teacher in Plano ISD, an accomplished teacher who trains others. He wrote about how he stopped cheating by giving assessments that involved one-on-one conversations with students, tests given in groups, tests given where students are allowed note cards. I would love to try some of his ideas, but in the world of strict, common, multiple-choice assessments, my options are limited. This is the result of high-stakes over-testing that is encouraged by TEI. Last week, I was supposed to be preparing my students for the high-stakes district-made ACP test this week. However, it was difficult when many of my students were pulled out of class for retakes of the high-stakes state-made STAR test. In addition, my admin let me know that that week I was expected to give a high-stakes 6 weeks common assessment. So I was unable to prepare my kids for a test because I needed to give them another test, but then they weren't able to take that test because they were pulled out for a different test. And none of these absurd multiple-choice tests tell me much of anything useful about my students. And thanks to the pressures of TEI, PEI, and APEI, I can't give them tests that would tell me what I need to know.
Charles Williams, followed by Marvin Earl.
Good evening, everyone, ladies and gentlemen, to the DISD board. My name is Charles Williams. I reside at 6543 Gentle River Drive, Dallas, Texas. On behalf of representing Pat Rainey drivers, we appreciate you all drafting us in as drivers to drive for the school district. We appreciate our job. We like what we do, but we would ask that you all would consider us and appreciate us more by considering us as far as holiday pay, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's. We like what we do and we enjoy taking these kids to school, but we can't accommodate when y'all don't show us the appreciation of giving us the holiday pay. When we at home for 2 weeks on a break and not being able to make a good earnest living for 2 weeks, and we have to make up the difference in other ways, you know, and it's times are too hard to borrow money. But we asking the district and the board to consider us in your budget in 2020 as the drivers, as the monitors, and even as the Pat Rainey, Longview, and Cleburne. We ask that y'all would consider this in your budget. We like what we do. We come to work. We thank y'all for the bonus, but we ask that y'all would consider us and more than just, you know, being drivers. We're more than just drivers. We transport these kids to and from school, to and from home. Regardless of what we deal with, we still try to put forth an effort to get these kids safely to their destination. Thank you all for y'all support. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Marvin Earl, followed by Delna Bryan. Delna Bryan, followed by Bruce Copeland.
Good evening, Mr. Superintendent, members of the board. Again, I march to the beat of a different drummer. Over the years, life gets so busy, but it's time for us to pause. We have done a lot in 2019. I was driving along the other day and I heard that we got an A from TEA for having the best pre-K schools in Texas. I was proud of that. We have to use the spirit of the law instead of the letter of the law to accomplish more. It is the season to share the joy here. We can put our differences behind us for a few days. We have some of the most authentic people working genuinely and with a passion that I have never seen in any other school district that I have taught in. And I have taught in quite a few. Let us go home to a joyous holiday. In closing, I will ask that you put the math of life together. Let us add the person who is the reason for this season. Let us multiply our good deeds. Let us divide our blessings. Let us subtract our fears. That will equal to the premier district that we have here in Dallas ISD. I close by wishing you all, here and abroad, Feliz Navidad, Felices Pascuas, Merry Christmas, a joyous holiday. Thank you.
Bruce Copeland, followed by Zara Darwish. Zara Darwish, followed by Diane Birdwell.
Good evening. My name is Zara Darwish. I live at 5126 Columbia Avenue. I have 2 children at Woodrow Wilson High School, one in the IB program and one in a special education contained classroom, functional life skills and total communication. About a year and a half ago, talked to the teachers and staff about the lack of training that our kiddos were receiving for career readiness. My child, like many, will not ever be accepted to MAC. And we had to figure something out. There was no vocational opportunities at our school. So we started a program, a nonprofit group called the Woodrow Percolators. I don't know if any of you know about it. It's a coffee cart business that we were able to get 501c3 status, and we have tapped into autism organizations to fund seed money for the coffee cart. So a year later, fast forwarding a year later, we have the kids are brewing coffee every morning for the entire staff of Woodrow Wilson. Kiddos who weren't using language had no idea how to initiate a conversation, prepare a product, and serve it, take money, the transactions that they're learning about taking orders and dealing with money, giving change, giving customer service. It's preparing them for after school, for this community who at 80% is usually unemployed, people with severe disabilities. And so I just wanted to say that, you know, this wasn't something that was initially started by special education or DISD. It was parent-driven, and I understand that at other schools where the parents are not as, they don't participate as much for whatever reasons. I think that this is a great model that we can use. I mean, what school does not need coffee service in the morning? I think it's something that everybody would love, and I think it is, the teacher was saying that the numbers, the test scores, everything has started to improve with these children. I've seen their communication skills, their self worth. It's wonderful to see the effects of them having this business. And I hope it's something that the district can back somehow.
Thank you, Ms.
And
Darwish. Your
thank you.
time
Thanks
has
for your time.
expired. Diane Birdwell, followed by Amy Tawil.
Good evening. I'll be coming back every month asking for the same thing. A year ago, last December, I came before you to ask for a reduction in the ratio of counselors and monitors to students. A year ago, I was on Channel 8 about it. And I've given y'all homework, and I think they've already handed it out to you. I came back in the spring and asked again. I came back again this fall. No change was made to the budget for 2019-2020, and now y'all are getting ready to start working on the budget for 2020-2021. Maybe now, between the board and the top administration of this district, you will heed my request before a tragedy occurs on one of our campuses. We've had a shooting right across from Adamson, one on a Seagoville campus in just the last week. We've got kids overdosing from vaping. We've got kids considering suicide, others who have shut down emotionally and academically. Weapons and drugs have been found on students this year. Currently, in Texas, not just in DISD, it's a 450 to 1 ratio for counselors. The national recommendation is 250 to 1. I'm asking for 250 to 300 to 1. I'm asking you to stop spending money on programs that micromanage teachers down to how many times they walk around a room and how they check on people's papers. I'm asking you to shift your priorities to students and their lives, not just their test scores. Because how much is a child's mental health worth to you? Is it worth more than a test score, more than a bonus, or more than bragging rights? The governor of Texas said in his 40-point plan for improving school safety after yet another school shooting that killed multiple people, that there should be more counselors, one that focuses on academic issues and one on students' mental health. I'm begging you to bring back something that we older veterans can remember, the lead counselor, to end all of this. The comprehensive counselors are overwhelmed. Instead of spending $3.5 million a year on teaching trust, you could have bought, well, not bought, but you could have paid for 60 more counselors. Instead of $350,000 for student surveys for TEI, you could get us 6 to 7 more counselors. We could grow our own counselors the way we seem to be growing our own administrators. Right now, counselors have to handle everything that walks through the doors, from spreadsheets and reports and schedule changes to 504s, parent meetings, and of course the kid who's about to crack up in the hallway because they're having a crisis at home. By creating a lead counselor position, they could handle the FAFSA completions for CCMR that y'all want to increase on, mandatory classes on drug abuse, bullying, increased interest in military and job and college prep programs, 504s, teacher compliance thereof, scholarships and grants. Their well-being is more important than a test score. It is more important than an ACP. And I know that while you say you truly care about the kids, in this season, I want you to demand that we lower the ratio to 250 to 300 to 1 for each of our students. Real reform is changing what is not working, and our counselors are overloaded. We in the classrooms are overloaded, and the kids are stressed. If you want a safe campus, help us.
Ms.
Thank you,
Birdwell.
and Merry Christmas.
Amy Tawil, followed by Arthur Fleming.
Hi, my name's Amy Tawil, 1330 Rainbow Drive, Dallas, Texas, 75208. The district on its website defines Rosemont Upper Campus as 6th through 8th grade middle school dual language magnet. Yet on the newly released promotional video, 3rd grade FLES, foreign language in elementary school, was featured, as well as fourth grade dance. At the end of the video, the host encourages viewers to go to the DISD website. When viewers get there, they will only see information regarding the middle school magnet, but grades 3 through 5 are also housed at the upper campus. It's hard for me to believe that after 14 years, this administration still does not understand the configuration of Rosemont. Tonight, I want to talk about upending 2 campuses by moving third grade down to lower campus for no other apparent reason than to fit in a model. I've been told school leadership wants Rosemont Upper Campus to fit in the same model as Travis or Pleasant Grove two-way dual language tag. Those schools are 4th through 8th grade application magnets. Rosemont Upper Campus is currently a 3rd through 5th grade neighborhood two-way dual language school and a two-way dual language middle school magnet. Half of the school's 3rd through 5th graders are not even eligible to apply to the middle school. And students from other dual language elementary schools apply to come to Rosemont at middle school for the magnet. The same model should not be used for all of these schools. This move is a big change for our campuses. It means Lower Campus will be the only pre-K-3 campus in the district. It means the incredible early learning environment created at Lower Campus will now be infiltrated by STAR testing, unnecessarily locking down our youngest students. This move means the school will need to limit transfers by reducing each lower campus grade level by 2 sections. It's confusing to me that the district is trying very hard to attract new students, but is limiting enrollment at a very popular and well-established school. The new housing immediately adjacent to our campuses have home values of $500,000 to $1.2 million. We have captured some of those families and hope to attract others. We had planned to expand tuition-based pre-K. Now this will not be possible. As Principal Barker states in the video, we have applied to be a 3rd through 5th grade STEAM D choice school. Why would leadership even consider separating 3rd grade from this opportunity? The district's plan for Upper Campus is to actually reduce the number of classrooms at the Upper Campus. Why would taxpayers spend millions to do this? Is this why 3rd grade is moving to Lower Campus? Moving 3rd grade down to lower not only affects students, it affects staff. 3rd grade teachers are left without STAR support from their peers in other grade levels. There is no other school in this district that isolates 3rd grade like this move would do. It seems the decision was made to move 3rd grade to Lower Campus was made without a lot of thought, without much sound reasoning, and
Thank
with
you, Mr.
zero
Williams.
community input. It seems
Your
once
time
again
has
that our
expired.
schools south of the river
Arthur
are
Fleming,
being told
followed
what to
by
do, where north of the
Juanita
river and east of the river and
Cervantes.
east,
Mr.
the
Wood,
communities
your
get to
time is out of respect
participate
for
in the
everyone else in room.
decisions.
Thank you. Mr. Fleming, you have the floor.
Arthur Fleming, followed by Juanita Cervantes.
Good evening, everybody. How you doing? First of all, I bring a season's greeting from the NAACP Dallas Executive Committee, of which I'm a member. And what I want to talk about is some areas of disrespect, and hopefully next year maybe we can do a little bit better. There's a perceived lack of disrespect for our community. I start with Senate Bill 1882, ALEC, the privatization program. All but two of you board members voted for that program. That's a privatization program. And so I just like to say, if you all like privatizations that well, go work for charters and let some community people come and have those positions. Clean water. Now, we've been talking about getting clean water in the South for some years now. Again, disrespectful. You know, the water's still dirty, okay? Stucco or brick. You came to the community and said, do you want stucco or brick? I'm gonna let you vote. They voted for brick. But what do we have? Stucco. Disrespectful. The community eyes and ears, our watchdog person, Bruce Copeland, has recently been barred from meetings that will let the community know what's going on. That's disrespectful. Why are you blocking our representative? Why do we need a watchdog? Well, we need a watchdog because DISD don't have a quality or compliance office that actually looks over this money and how it's spent. And, you know, we don't know why that is. Now, it's my understanding that Mr. Lane and Mr. Stusley are part of the problem as far as not wanting him in those meetings. Maybe they ought to resign. Now, they both nice fellas, but they seem to have a problem with respecting our community. At some point, this DSD board and its employees need to respect the community, and remember, you work for the community don't work for you. Merry Christmas, and thank you.
Juanita Cervantes, followed by Stuart Becker. Stuart Becker, followed by Hope Lee.
Hi, my name is Stuart Becker, and I live at 1702 North Jupiter Road, and I'm a member of Alliance AFT Local 2260. I work as a teacher in the district, but I'm here tonight, like many others, to speak out against TEI. But before I begin, I would like to start by thanking the trustee from District 3 for attending our union's TEI committee meeting last week. We appreciate the opportunity for dialogue with the district, and we look forward to meeting with additional trustees in the future. The reason I became involved in the TEI committee was because of the damage I saw it enacted on our students. I have been teaching for 3 years, and I cannot begin to explain how frustrating it is that DISD encourages teachers to teach to the test. I did not enter education to teach students how to pass the test, but this is what TEI forces us to do. In DISD, teachers get paid more money if their students score higher on a specific set of tests. Skills such as thinking critically and also sparking a love of learning within children take a back seat in DISD. In DISD, we value educating our children to pass multiple choice tests. As we heard last month, this causes incredible stress on both our educators and on our students. Teachers are literally threatening students and telling them they have to skip their birthday parties and sporting events to increase their test scores. I'm sure you can imagine what directors are telling principals and what principals are telling teachers. The sad thing is that these are good people, but TEI has created a system that encourages this behavior. This is all a real shame because Dallas has some incredible teachers who could do great things if they were free to teach the whole child. Instead, we are teaching to the test. Since TEI has been enacted, we have witnessed our students fall behind their peers on a national level. The nation's report card, also known as NAEP, shows Dallas students have actually regressed since TEI was enacted. How is it possible if our STAR scores are increasing, but NAEP scores are going down? It's because in DISD, we teach the STAR test. I propose we teach our students to read, write, and think critically instead of teaching to any test. As currently enacted, TEI is a disaster of a compensation program. We should get rid of TEI and move to a peer review evaluation system. But in the meantime, I do have a couple of suggestions that would mitigate TEI's damage to our students and educators. One, remove the school STAR score from the evaluation rating. Teachers are currently punished and lose points for teaching at struggling campuses. This makes no sense because it pushes teachers to avoid teaching at the most in-need schools. We should be encouraging our best teachers to go where the students are most in need. Two, remove the student survey or at least decouple it from salary. This is obvious for a number of reasons, but losing points because a student says they only somewhat talk about Algebra 2 at home is insulting. What I really want is to teach in a district where teachers can teach and students are more than just a test score. Thank you for your time.
Mr. Becker. Hope Lee, followed by Rena Honey.
Hello, my name is Hope B. Lee, and my address is 1011 Steeplechase Court, Grand Prairie, Texas, 75052. I'm a pre-K teacher at William Anderson Blair. Education is my second career. I started working at Blair 20 years ago. I started my 20th year this August. Most of my parents think that I am a master or a distinguished teacher when they think about TEI, but because 90% of the students that I teach in pre-K are pre-K ready 90% every year, but I am not, according to the rubric that is developed every year after their scores. I am also the Vice President of Teacher Affairs for NEA Dallas. I'm here this evening to express my concerns regarding teacher retention. My first concern is regarding the structure of TEI. As administration and the board hopefully know that NEA is the only organization that filed a class action suit regarding TEI that was filed on September 2015. That suit has went to TEA, which said that we did not have a grievable issue, then went on to the Travis County, and then we appealed it. It has been returned to Austin for a decision saying that we did have a right to grieve TEI and the scorecards that went out that particular year. So a couple of questions that I have is, what happens if the commissioner now or court comes back and says the TEI is not a fair and equitable system? Is there a salary system in place? And I have attached a salary score, salaries summary of all of the districts in the Dallas-Fort Worth. It is small, and I was going to bring a hand lens, but my phone worked better than a hand lens. So if you want to look at it, you can see that Dallas, out of 48 districts, usually becomes an average. And if we consider ourselves to be a premier district and we want our students to be great and excellent, I'm not sure why we are content with saying that our teachers will only be paid an average rate. The second issue that I'm concerned about is that ACE schools, all teachers are required now to do ACE work, but are not allowed to have ACE compensation.
Rena Honey, followed by Yash Karlik.
Okay, I don't know where my paper is, so I'll try to remember as much as I can. Rena Honey, 334 Center Street. I'm president of Alliance AFT and co-chair of Our Community, Our Schools. It's no secret at all that TEI is obviously controversial in many different areas. By the trustees, they're not held accountable for it. They like it. They're not compensated by it. With our administrators, they're not held accountable for it, or they are in some ways, but their pay is not tied to it. But our teachers and our professional support personnel, they are. What I know that most of you know is that we do have, Alliance AFT does have a TEI committee where we have been working 2 to 3 years to try to come up with solutions because we know the appetite of the district is not to get rid of TEI. You all think it's wonderful, even after hearing from people that are evaluated by it every year, paid by it every year, and the targeted distribution causes such anxiety for so many people, and the impact that this is having on our students is very disturbing to many of the people that are in front of the kids every single day. But what we want you to know is that we're appreciative of those of you that have been able to be at some of the meetings, to have those conversations. We're working diligently to come up with suggestions that hopefully the administration would consider of things that could be done. You've heard a couple of them tonight, but it's important that the people that are directly impacted every single year by this feel that it's fair, it's equitable, that it can be explained, and still many of our campus administrators cannot help their employees understand TEI. They can't help them understand how to get it better. They can't help them with hardly any of it because they don't know. They're new themselves. So we just want to bring things forward, be collaborative, and ask that you really pay attention to the ones that are directly affected every single day, because it's not a system that works directly for all of our teachers that are evaluated by it. The other thing I'd like to say very quickly, you've heard from one of the transportation workers this evening. We'd like for you all to consider a stipend for not only the CDL drivers, they have it, but all of the drivers and the monitors. Maybe it's half as much because the extra requirement is not required for driving, but the dissension it's caused in the conversations, because they got a stipend and the others did not, make them feel undervalued. Thank you.
Yash Kalik, followed by Michael Gonzalez.
Hey there, my name is Yash Kalik. I graduated high school in 2017. I have friends and former teachers still in the DISD district, so I guess their issues really mean a lot to me. So I'll be reading tonight a few excerpts from the series of comments Alliance AFT received on this anonymous survey about TEI. Included in comment number 7, the primary reason I am qualified now and was not previously is that my course load changed from on-level classes filled with many low English proficiency and special education students to only pre-AP students. My test scores have soared without dramatic changes to my teaching. It's clear to me how much TEI relies on what students are in your classes. Test scores directly correlate with economic status, and the pre-AP students I have are significantly wealthier than the students I've taught previously. Included in comment number 66, the TEI does not accurately reflect teachers' ability to teach. We do not teach cookie-cutter students, so we should not have a cookie-cutter system for teachers. From comment number 49, I believe that TEI is a way for the district to withhold pay from teachers and force them to teach strategies and gimmicks to students instead of content knowledge. From comment number 11, it is a complex picture that TEI tries to boil down into a spreadsheet-friendly formula. From comment number 62, Dallas ISD does not respect veteran teachers, the schools in critical need, and they definitely do not respect special education, because if they did, they would compensate their teachers and value them for the dedication and hard work that we put in on a daily basis. If TEI continues, the schools that continue to thrive will be the ones that have students whose parents are financially stable, and the schools that are hard to staff will continue to suffer. If TEI stays, educators will continue to cheat, especially for STAR, so they can get their raises. From comment number 75, I'm very disappointed that I am not trusted to use my professional judgment. I must adhere to incompetent administrators and coaches' random, unorganized points of view. I must administer test questions daily. I'm subject to rigid schedules regardless of students' needs and insane class disruptions. From number 36, under the TEI system, I feel degraded as if my commitment to my students is meaningless. And finally, I would like the trustees to take away the most, from comment number 45, the district needs to allow union members to work with the board to find an evaluation system that is fair and equitable. I thank you for your time.
Michael Gonzalez, followed by Dr. Grace Ancor. Michael.
Howdy. My name is Michael Gonzalez, and I am reading a comment left in a recent anonymous survey by Alliance AFT about TEI. Since the TEI system has been introduced, I have seen my students' achievement levels drop. The kids are coming to high school less and less prepared. Additionally, I have watched some of the best teachers I've had the pleasure to work with leave DISD because of TEI. I have watched evaluators use the system to torture teachers they don't like for personal reason and even run off teachers. The morale in my school has dropped significantly. When I started at my school years ago, people were happy. I used to love coming to work. I loved my students. I loved my colleagues. I felt fully supported by my administration. Now I feel like it is a gotcha game. I feel picked over. We are swamped with paperwork in the name of our TEI scores. Every little thing is viewed under a microscope. The TEI system is why I'm leaving teaching. I hate every day of my job. That's what my passions have disintegrated into, a job. I want a career, not a job. I want to be respected for my faithfulness, hard work, dedication, relentless pursuit of knowledge, education, passion, drive. My lesson plans went from a tool I used to help my class to a document used against me in the court of DISD. Everything I do must be justified. I get in trouble for reading to my students important parts of a text. I get in trouble for not reading to my students enough. I get in trouble if a child doesn't do their work. I am not allowed to enter a grade of 0 unless I call a parent first. I teach upperclassmen in high school. I expect my students to go to college. I do not expect their college professor to notify them if they have a 0. I do not expect their college professor to hold their hand to make sure they get their work done. I push them with advanced texts and dig as deep as we can into them to pull the wisdom from them. I show and guide my students into thinking about texts on a philosophical level in the hopes that they will continue to ponder not just life's mysteries or what they want their purpose to be, but to evaluate the world around them and act in a way that betters this world, not only for themselves, but for the community. They leave knowing that I will always support them if they need me. They know I am here to help with their academics for as long as they ask. They know that I see them as my kids and love them for the people they are and the people they will be. All of that said, I feel like I am in an abusive relationship with my job. I have had to secretly plan my escape, keeping my lips sealed because the other victims with their Stockholm Syndrome might turn me in and I will be punished. I've stayed because I love my students. I've stayed because I could protect them from the idiocracy being passed down from DISD. I will miss my kids. I am sure I will cry when I have to leave them, knowing that they will be my last students, at least for the next few years. But I have to go or this job will kill me. That's what you have to do when you escape an abusive partner. Leave. This is a shortened version of this comment with a few parts cut out for the sake of time, but the teacher ended with this line: I am sorry for the long message. I've kept my mouth shut for years. It exploded out of me. Please help us. It does not have to be this way. Thank you.
Dr. Grace Ann Carr, followed by Rudy Karimi.
To Superintendent Henny Holston, to the board. My name is Dr. Grace Ann Carr. I reside at 2201 Overton Road, 75216. I am going to touch bases on your transportation. The transportation is my department right now. I taught for 15 years. The students are still mine. I'm only interested in trying to get the transportation up to par. We have bad buses. We have buses that are being stopped with children on the bus. We have to have someone else to bring a bus to take the children off the bus. Our job is safety. We're supposed to get those children to and from the pickup, to and from school, and get them safely home. We can't do it if we don't get the buses. We have to have them. We need you all to get down and pull that and get us some buses. Second of all, we need our bus lot. We have a bus lot that we're leasing. That's money being spent. We don't need the lease from Lancaster. We need our own bus born so that we can get more drivers, more safety drivers. We're having a lot of problems with the monitors. They don't want to ride the buses because the buses break down. If you leave the lot at 5:30 in the morning, you have a route that you have to pick up a student at 6:15, you're going to be late because the bus quit 3 blocks up. Why do we have buses that are running so bad that the mechanics don't even know what's wrong? They're saying, oh, we don't know, just bring the bus in. So can we get you all, the board, to try to look into that and get us some buses so that we can get these children to and from? You say they are ours. You say this is where we get our money. This is where we get paid. I know that's what they're telling me. This is how I get paid. I want to take them to and from safely every day. The blue buses, they're okay. Some places they can get into, but we can't pick up but 9. Sometimes we have to send 2 or 3 buses back to pick up the extra load. We're growing. We're growing by the minute. Can you all please see to it that this gets taken care of? Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
Our last speaker is Rudy Karimi.
Hi, good evening. Happy holidays. My name is Rudy Karimi. I'm at 306 South Glasgow, Dallas, Texas, 75214. I'm here to speak to you about the DISD interlocal agreement. Thank you. Between Woodrow Wilson High School and Randall Winters Park. Specifically, a few violations that I would like to spread awareness on, seek your support with to mitigate and improve on as we enter the new year. Number 1, control, supervision, and safety. This is section 4.6 and 5.4 of the thick handout that I distributed earlier. We've had 3 major disruptions, brawls on our street in less than 2 weeks. Seen in Article 1 of the small handout that I distributed, there's a very disturbing street scene. This happened right in front of my neighbor's house. This also happened in front of my house. In the last few days, we've had increased DISD and DPD presence there. This needs to continue into the new year. We believe this is the best way to resolve what's happening on our street next to Woodrow Wilson. Number 2, parking. This is section 4.3 of the agreement. This is seen in Article 2 of the handout. These signs are threatening, and I'm pretty sure they're illegal to put at a public park. The school should be sharing these spaces at a public park, not reserving them at a public park. The third item, facilities and availability. This is section 5.2 of the interlocal agreement. All facilities should be open to Dallas citizens, seen in Article 3. There are fences and locks all over the place at Randall Park. I'm not talking about the fences around the softball fields or the baseball fields. I understand why they're there. They're to keep balls in play and what have you. I am talking about the penitentiary-style fences around the backside of the park. These are the extra fences that keep people out of the common areas, the pathways, and various access points to the park, this public park. That said, come the new year, I'd like to sit down with many of you, our council members, our Parks Board rep, to work out a solution to make this a better park for those who live immediately around Woodrow Wilson High School. Thank you.
This concludes our speakers.
Thank you to all of our speakers this evening. We're going to move on to section 4, starting with the superintendent's report.
Thank you, Trustee Henry, members of the board. A couple of quick items. Number 1 is that the district got very good news from Standard & Poor's rating agency. The district has been upgraded to AA+, which is the second highest possible rating, and coupled with the permanent school fund guarantee, this allows the district to be very efficient in the bond program. So I want to thank all of our financial staff and the board direction in making sure we achieve this high quality rating from Standard & Poor's. Second of all, we also had very fortunate to have our Principal of the Year celebration. Despite some of the gloomy news we heard tonight, it was very inspirational to be at our principal meeting last week. I know a couple of trustees were there, and they got to share in the very inspirational type of activities that our principals were congratulated on. Our elementary Principal of the Year is Ida Escobedo, who has been a long-term, over almost 2-decade principal at Margaret B. Henderson. We had our secondary winner was Francine Taylor, who has recently been promoted to H. Grady Spruce, but did a tremendous job at a middle school in the Pleasant Grove community. And then Nancy Bernardino was named our choice school winner, and she's done a phenomenal job in starting our very inspirational solar prep school that is very inspiring all over this community. And then also, we were also inspired by 23 master principals who were recognized for their outstanding performance. That concludes my report this evening.
Thank you for that inspiring report, Dr. Hinojosa. Trustees, we're up to item 4.02, Board of Trustee Committee Reports. Do we have any committee reports tonight? Okay, if we do not have any committee reports tonight, let's go to district reports, trustee district reports, and we'll start with you, Trustee Mackey.
So from District 7, I first of all want to piggyback on what Dr. Hinojosa said. We had 5 master principals from District 7 that I'm proud to announce. Dr. Macario Hernandez from Trinity Garza, Lourdes Garduño from Winnetka Elementary School, Kelly Sanchez from Arcadia Park Elementary School, Catherine Carter from L. O'Donnell Elementary School, and Salam Hussein from Quintanilla Middle School. So congratulations to all of them. And the 6th one, actually, Principal Ida Escobedo, who was also named the elementary school principal of the year. So that's a huge celebration for all of those principals. I also want to give kudos to Arcadia Park Elementary School 2nd grade teachers Janika Ward and Kenshell Hills, who received grants from Toyota and United Way to purchase STEM supplies for technology. Huge shout out to Gisela Ortiz, captain of the Sunset Dance Company, who won a $3,000 scholarship for Telemundo and Wingstop's Student Athlete of the Month. And then congrats to Quintanilla Middle School teacher Twin Nguyen, who was awarded $10,000 by Texas Instruments Innovations for demonstrating quality instruction and building student achievement in science.
Thank you, Trustee Mackey. Trustee Flores?
Thank you. First, I want to congratulate Dominic Patermo, a fourth grade student from Harry C. Withers Elementary School, for being among the 8 Dallas ISD students to advance to the Dr. MLK Jr. oratory competition in January at W.H. Adamson High School. Withers continues to dominate this competition, and we hope that they're going to bring it home once again. I'd also like to thank the community for their input and feedback on the rebuilding of Dallas District 1 schools as a result of the recent storms. We've held at least 3 community forums so far and look forward to hosting more. We had one, I hosted 2, and then the administration hosted one about the planned configuration for those elementary schools and the middle schools. And so we received pretty good input at that community meeting, and we're excited about the possibilities of what could happen at the Cary TJ site. And I continue to look forward to work together with the District 1 family and the community around Cary and TJ as we develop plans for the new facilities and continue forward the school traditions and pride for those schools. And lastly, I wish to wish everyone a safe and happy holiday season and a great break. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Flores. Trustee Mitchko?
Trustee Flores, are you going to show us the front page story?
It's all put away.
Yeah.
I think it was going to take it home. So I forget. So Trustee Mitchko is referring to the front cover of the Preston Hollow People, where we're celebrating. Principal Massey and I are celebrating the donation from the Jones Family Foundation for TJ. So, very exciting. Front page.
Thank you, yes, that is inspiring.
I'm inspired.
I'd like to congratulate the District 3 teachers who were recognized as 2019 Teachers of the Year by the Greater East Dallas Chamber of Commerce. Jennifer Idokutu from L. Hotchkiss Elementary School, and Jose Delgado from Bryan Adams High School. I'd also like to congratulate Becky Brown at Emmett J. Conrad High School, who's one of the finalists for the district's Secondary Teacher of the Year. I'd also like to tell you about Kavion Morris, a 15-year-old 9th grade hero from Bryan Adams High School who was walking to school one morning and saw that a toddler was in distress, and that toddler was in distress because her sister was drowning in a swimming pool at the apartment complex. Kavion sprung into action, jumped into the pool, and rescued the little girl. What I didn't know until a few weeks later, when Congressman Eddie Bernice Johnson was honoring Kavion, was that after he rescued the girl, he proceeded to school sopping wet and went to class, and was, at that point, that's how everyone found out that he had jumped in the water. But he was so intent on getting to class on time that's what he did. He got there on time. I would also point out that during the presentation at Congresswoman Johnson's office, and the principal of Bryan Adams was describing this incident, and one of the people who just happened to be there was the great aunt of the toddler who was rescued, and that was quite an emotional moment. So with that, I'd like to wish you all happy holidays. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Mitchko. Trustee Garcia?
Hi, everyone. I'd like to congratulate Spruce High School Principal Francine Taylor for earning the Dallas ISD Secondary Principal of the Year Award and the school's librarian, Miss Tracy Walker-Reed, who is recognized as one of the top 10 librarians in the country by the American Library Association. Congratulations to both gifted educators. Also, congratulations to Dorsey Elementary Principal Rubina Sanchez, Teich Elementary Principal Damian Stovall, Ruby Ramirez from Stagg in Pleasant Grove, Gabriel Dixon from Young Women's STEAM Academy, and Julie Singleton from Central Elementary for being named 2019 Master Principals. Check out that District 4 talent. Congratulations to the Young Women's STEAM Academies John Four and Stagg at Pleasant Grove Katie Benningfield, who are finalists for the Dallas ISD Teacher of the Year. And finally, huge kudos to John Quincy Adams students and staff for organizing holiday food drives, collecting canned foods to donate to the Pleasant Grove Christian Church Food Pantry and the North Texas Food Bank, respectively. That concludes District 4.
Trustee Solis.
Thank you, Mr. President. Congratulations to Dr. Nancy Bernardino, who is the one of the principals of the year at Solar Preparatory School for Girls at James Bonham. WFAA recently ran a story highlighting Principal Bernardino, her personal story and the story about Solar Preparatory School for Girls, and it was a dynamic video. I would encourage you, if you can, to just Google that and learn more about why she is a Principal of the Year this year. And not only is she a Principal of the Year, but she's also one of the District 8 Master Principals, I think in her case particularly, 2 years in a row. But there are also other Master Principals from District 8, from Burnett Sonia Loscott, from Joe May, he's now moved on, but for the work that he did in the previous year, Israel Rivera, from Rusk Middle School, Juan Cordova, from DESA, Arnoldo Zuniga, and from Solar Girls, as I've mentioned, Nancy Bernardino. So congratulations to all of our Master Principals. Also, I want to say congratulations to 2 Teacher of the Year finalists that are from District 8. Mr. Eric Hill, who is from Burnett and recently won a National Teacher of the Year award, and also Mary Sly from Solar STEAM Girls as well. And I also want to say congratulations to all of the great work that's been happening at the Multiple Careers Magnet Center, particularly a recent story that I read in the Dallas ISD Hub, in which we are now partnering with Eastfield College to ensure that we have certifications on customer service for our students. And if I'm not mistaken, there are 40 students that just recently received a certification. So congratulations to them and the great work that's happening at Multiple Careers Magnet, and also for what they recently did in creating holiday toys, which they do every year. This year, toys that were delivered to children and families that are staying at the Ronald McDonald House because they have to stay there to get the medical services necessary in the medical district. So thank you so much for going above and beyond, students at Multiple Career Magnet Center. And while I recognize that there are no items pulled for debate today, there is one item that I want to particularly call out because it took a ton of time and effort and diligence and a relentless pursuit of results. And that is going to be as of next year, first year Montessori Magnet School, Montessori Transformation School happening downtown. That has been an idea that's been worked on for many, many years, and there were a ton of people that were involved in getting that done. I want to particularly say thank you to the leadership at Downtown Dallas Incorporated for never giving up on Dallas ISD and for working with us, but very specifically want to say thank you to our administration because they worked hard to find an appropriate facility and also not to give up on that concept. So congratulations for the Montessori School and Trustee Henry for your leadership in making sure that we could close the deal. So thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Trustee Solis. Trustee Johnson.
Congratulations to the outstanding young public speakers from District 5 who have advanced to the finals of the Martin Luther King Jr. Oratory Competition. Josiah King, 5th grader from William Brown Miller Elementary School. Dynasty McKinney, 4th grader from Clara Oliver Elementary School. Ayana Gee, 5th grader from John Ely Bryan Elementary School. James Henderson III, 5th grader from T.L. Marsalis Elementary School as well. Thank you to Love for Kids for sponsoring an amazing afternoon full of holiday surprises for 10 students at Pinkston High School. Kudos to Roosevelt High School Alumni Association for providing blessings bags filled with non-perishable food items to students during the Thanksgiving and winter break. Also, I want to say congratulations to Townview Magnet School for the kids on their success, and congrats also to Ms. Tony Neal, who put together a great program. I also want to thank everyone for your prayers and texts that I received during this very difficult time and season in my life. I can ask that you continue to pray for me, continue to pray for our family. God bless. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Johnson. Trustee Marshall.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'll give the District 2 report. First, want to congratulate the Woodrow ACU senior captain, Tracy James, who was selected for the all-conference first team, and James Medden, Samaj Johnson, and Marshall Prather also earned academic all-state, so congrats to them. On December 7th, the Woodrow Wildcats wrestling team came in second place overall at the Cougar Classic, so great job for those guys. I also want to give a shout out to North Dallas High School. Their auditorium began a lighting and sound makeover thanks to the amazing holiday donation from Hillsong Dallas. We're very thankful for that. Want to congratulate the JL Long's Lady Bucks, who played in the Rock the Bells basketball tournament and won both first and second place for 7th and 8th grade. Way to represent. There's also lots of great volunteer activities going on in multiple District 2 schools. Just to name a few, the JL Long's boys 7th and 8th grade basketball team served meals at the Salvation Army. Ben Franklin had a fun time making toys for dogs that are in shelters. North Dallas LULAC students gave back to the community by helping out at the North Texas Food Bank. And the Woodrow baseball team served up hot holiday meals at the Salvation Army. I want to thank Chief Elizalde for coming out to celebrate our Woodrow and Skyline principals at their holiday appreciation bowling night. I was thrilled to attend as well, and it was a fun evening. Also want to congratulate Michael Jones from JL Long for winning the Greater East Dallas Chamber Teacher of the Year Award, and congratulate Principal Melanie Manns from Mockingbird Elementary for being named a Master Principal for the second year in a row. Also, shout out to Dandy Rogers. Education leaders from across the state visited the school to see how the school successfully implements personalized learning. Dallas ISD Region 10 Education Service Center and the TEA hosted the Blended Learning Grant Program Kickoff Summit that in total visited 5 Dallas ISD personalized learning schools. Also had a great time this last weekend at the Preston Hollow Elementary Wrap-a-thon, where students wrapped Christmas gifts as part of a fundraising effort for the school's PTA. And I want to congratulate Long Middle School's Caitlin Schmidt for being named a finalist for Dallas ISD Secondary Teacher of the Year. Also, he's a graduated, but I want to give a shout out to Woodrow grad Drew Wiles for winning the Dallas Half Marathon with an unbelievable time. Miguel stole my thunder, but I too want to thank Courtney Garrett and the team from Downtown Dallas Inc. for sticking with us through this process. It has been years in the making, and although there won't be discussion about it tonight, I'm sure you're grateful it stayed on consent. And we're all thrilled that the item will pass and that we'll soon have a Montessori school in downtown where we need it. So thanks very much for your efforts. That concludes the District 2 report. I just want to wish you all a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays.
Thank you, Trustee Marshall. I'm going to do both my District 9 report and the District 6 report. I'm going to start with the District 6 report on behalf of Trustee Joyce Foreman, who's not able to attend tonight. And if you know anything about Trustee Foreman, only a doctor would keep her from attending and being an advocate for a community. So first, our prayers and thoughts are with her. She's going through recovery from a recent procedure. I'm going to read her report. So congratulations to Paul Obley, a math teacher at Barbara M. Manns High School in District 6. He's one of 7 Dallas ISD teachers who received $10,000 awards from Texas Instruments for consistently demonstrating quality instruction and building student achievement in the STEM subjects. Congratulations to 2 outstanding elementary teachers in District 6 who have been named finalists for the DISD Teacher of the Year. They are Francesca Asbury Jackson of T.L. Marcellus Elementary and Courtney Johnson of Humphrey Lee Elementary. Altogether, 11 teachers are finalists for the 2018-2019 Teacher of the Year. Kudos to all the finalists. Trustee Foreman also wants to communicate she's proud of the robotics team at Daniel Webster Elementary School in South Oak Cliff, who placed 9th out of 30 teams at a weekend robotics event. It was a job well done. Last but not least, James Johnson III, a 5th grader at Marcellus Elementary, is one of the 8 outstanding young DISD public speakers who advanced to the finals of the MLK Oratory Competition. Congratulations and break a leg. Good luck in the finals, James. That concludes the District 6 accolades. Now with the District 9 accolades, I want to share that students and staff, along with alumni members and community members at Lincoln High School, have collected over 2,500 canned goods and raised over $1,500. They're feeding families and making donations to churches in the communities. It is a canned food drive to can the violence in our communities. I want to also recognize the students at Frank Giesick Elementary who are paying it forward this holiday season. The students' annual canned food drive yielded more than 250 pounds of food through their annual canned food drive. The donation will provide access to 213 meals for children, families, and seniors in North Texas. The Dallas NAACP recently honored 5 District 9 students with 2019 Juanita Craft scholarships in recognition of the scholastic achievement, school involvement in school, community service, and communication skills. The students each received $1,000, and there are 10 fields from Lincoln High School, DeShayla Ford for Irma Rangel Young Women's Leadership School, Francesca Jennings from Skyline High School, Jesus Ramos from Skyline High School, and Hannah Selders from Booker T. Washington High School for the Performing and Visual Arts. Congrats to all 5 of those students, and thank you for the NAACP for contributing. City Lab High School students applied their project management skills to plan a Polar Express Letters to Santa event for the students at Personalized Learning Prep at Sam Houston. The elementary students practiced their reading comprehension and writing skills as they created their holiday wish list for Santa. The event was featured on Fox 4 News. And I want to give kudos to 2 deserving District 9 teachers selected as finalists for the DISD Secondary Teacher of the Year. Congrats to Cherie Countryman of Booker T. Washington High School and Marquita Tillman of Billy Earl Dade Middle School. I also want to acknowledge a few groups that have given to our schools. So Children's Health gave significant gifts to Edna Royal Elementary School, as did 7-Eleven via cash. Just today on Target Supplies, the CEO Trey Black donated toys and other items to Paul C. Dunbar in sunny South Dallas. And DISD Athletics partnered with W.A. Blair to also give gifts. So in the spirit of the holiday season, I really want to recognize all the nonprofits, the organizations, the companies that are giving to our schools in support of our kids. And that concludes the District 9 accolades. So we're moving on to item 5, approval of minutes. Trustees, the following minutes have been submitted for approval. Superintendent's Evaluation Ad Hoc Committee, November 14, 2019. The Audit Committee meeting, November 15, 2019. The public hearing on November 21, 2019. The call board meeting on November 21, 2019. The board meeting on November 21, 2019. The call board meeting on December 5, 2019. And the Procurement Ad Hoc Committee meeting that occurred on, bless you, December 6, 2019. Do I have a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that we adopt the minutes submitted for approval. Trustees, are there any corrections? And trustees, please cast your votes.
The motion, someone didn't vote. Oh, Ms. Foreman. The motion passes 8-0.
Thank you. On to number 6, consent agenda items. Consider and take possible action to approve consent agenda items 6.01 through 6.37 as amended. Trustees, we have consent agenda item 6.01 through 6.37 as amended. Trustees, we need to pull item 6.18 for a separate vote due to a conflict of interest, and we need to pull item 6.24 off the agenda due to a bid protest. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda item 6.01 through 6.37?
Move to approve.
As
Second.
amended. It has been properly moved and seconded. There's no debate on the consent agenda items. Trustees, will you please cast your votes?
The motion passes 8-0.
Okay, now moving on to the item pulled for separate vote, 6.18, consider and take, due to a conflict of interest, consider and take possible action to approve the amendment to the shared service agreement with member districts and charter schools for services in the Dallas Regional Day School Program for the Deaf. Do I have a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Trustees, is there discussion? Trustee Marshall, just mic on or no? Okay, trustees, please cast your vote.
Motion passes 7 voting yes and 1 abstaining.
Okay. The time is now 8:15 and this meeting is adjourned.